Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you're going to meet Val Vidal. She's the soul healer, and she's on a mission to help people overcome childhood trauma. Her incredible journey just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, I met my next guest about a week ago, and she comes in with this $1 million smile, and you would never guess that she had so much adversity, especially at a young age, which is compounding the trauma. Val Vidal is in the studio. She's known as the soul healer. And was I right? Look at that smile. You can light up a room with that smile. So, I mean, people look at you for the first time and they see a person who's obviously beautiful and well-dressed, but they have no idea of the pain that you had to overcome. Share a little bit about your childhood.
Yes, thank you so much for that, Jeff. I think that my childhood has all of the elements that a person can possibly think of when they think of childhood trauma, from losing my mother at the very tender age of 6. She passed away actually on her birthday, celebrating her 26th birthday of an overdose. And then after that, you know, life with foster care and then moving from home to home and kind of not having that sense of self. That is the trademark of childhood trauma, where you have a broken sense of self.
Yes, and that could send a lot of people into a downward spiral that they never get out of. What helped you overcome?
So the most interesting thing is that I didn't actually just overcame it. I lived with chronic depression, anxiety for about 43 years before I was literally awakened and called by my name. And now here we are.
Wow. Well, I want to learn more about you in a minute. She puts up these great videos. Let's go ahead and roll one right now.
Hello, beautiful souls around the world. Welcome to the Good Girl channel. My name is Val Vidal. I am the author of the upcoming bestseller, Breaking the Statistics, a manual to help repair the broken souls of childhood trauma. I am on a transformative journey to help good girls like you heal from the good girl syndrome, a phenomenon that is deeply rooted in trauma. Through this platform, I aim to share my personal stories, insights, and the lessons I've learned along the way. Through candid discussions, you and I will reflect and share practical tips while exploring what it really means to break free from people-pleasing behaviors and daddy issues so that you can embrace authenticity. My goal is to create a safe space for those who resonate with these struggles, where we can learn, grow, and uplift one another together. Join me as I delve into topics like self-acceptance, setting boundaries, emotional resilience, and the power of vulnerability. Together, we will navigate the path to healing and empowerment, reclaiming our true selves and inspiring each other to live authentically. Don't forget to subscribe and become part of this healing community. Let's support one another on this journey towards freedom and self-love. What do you say?
So powerful. Tell me what you mean by the good girl.
You know, the good girl came from the fact that there was this, throughout my entire life, this, you have to be a bad, you know, beep.
Right.
And you have to do this, and you have to be fearless, and you have to, and all this time, like I was really trying to do all these things.
Right.
And it just never felt right. I'm like, but that's not what good girls do. Literally, you grow up in this, I guess, weird sense of belonging, right? Where you're doing the same things that everybody tells you to do. And it didn't matter how much people would tell me, no, you just gotta curse him out, or you just have to, you know, just pay him with the same thing they did to you. I could not. That's where the good girl comes from, is the fact that I've always been a good girl. And it probably came from, of course, the trauma and all these things where you're trying to be as perfect as possible.
Yes.
So that you're loved, that you're accepted, that you're cared for. It never really happens. But I did tell myself a long time ago that I was going to be good no matter what.
Yes. And I'm a people pleaser as well. I love words of affirmation. The problem with people pleasers is they can often fall in love with a narcissist who knows how to push their buttons and then take advantage of them. Will you talk about, you know, the dangers of falling in love with somebody who loves themselves more than they love you?
Absolutely. I think that most women that I've come across, surprisingly, you know, they've dealt with situations that we all hear that we're not supposed to, right? That if you are being mistreated, if you're being neglected, emotional abuse, if you're being physically abused, you should have a sense of walking out of there fairly quickly. But that doesn't really necessarily translate to that. There is this deep-rooted sense of, I have to be here, otherwise I'm not good.
Yes.
And you just really want to have somebody tell you, no, you're amazing, you're all of these things. And these predators, they see you. They see right through your heart. They know you're a good girl.
Yes.
That's how I ended up with 3 marriages later.
But look at that smile. And I love your positivity. You talked in the video about setting boundaries. Let's talk a little bit about that, because I find that sometimes even the people who love you the most can actually say things that belittle you or hurt you. Talk about creating boundaries with people who you love.
Absolutely. So I think that for me, that was the key point and the key element is understanding, if I'm going to keep this good heart, I need to figure out a way that I could do this without it just completely taking over, you know, the amount of sadness or the amount of guilt or the amount of when are they ever going to see me? Because they don't ever see you. Yes. They're too self-absorbed. They're projecting. People are constantly projecting. And a long time ago, I was told that I saw people good because I was good. So I said, okay, I like being good. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to learn how to identify when somebody doesn't have the good intentions. So even if a family member would come to me and try to just tell me to do something that it just doesn't agree with my soul,
sure,
I had to learn to say, no, I'm good.
Good for you.
Yeah.
No, that's so powerful. And you're a proud mom of 2. You have a 27-year-old and a 23-year-old. Tell us about your parenting style. What are some lessons that you want your children to learn from the way you're living your life?
Absolutely. I think that motherhood for me was the most challenging portion of it, because it's the most important relationship, I should say, that happens here on earth, right? It's that relationship of parent with child, because it's your responsibility to build a good human. Sure. And I didn't know what that looked like. It was like everyone around me had this facade, you know, where parents were mistreating these children, and then in front of everybody they were this amazing parent, but you knew better, right? And I said, no, I need to do something different. And the minute I caught myself being the same as that parent, where they were screaming at them, they were not listening, that was my eureka moment. And I said, wait, I'm doing the same thing that was being done to me, and I'm just passing that over.
Yes.
So I stopped. And I stopped, and the first thing I did was apologize to my son. He was 12. And I said, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that I was doing that to you, but I saw it in his eyes. he had a look of almost hate, you know? And I said, I recognized that in me when I was little. And I just stopped, plain stopped. And from there, it's just been an amazing relationship.
And I think you hit on something, the power of an apology, because so many people are trying to win an argument. They have to be right no matter what. And to me, nothing goes farther than, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that, I shouldn't have done that. Talk about the power of an apology.
The power of an apology. Oh, what the most powerful thing. You know why? Because you're killing the ego. There's no ego in an apology. And it's not an apology to get the response that you want to hear. But if you hurt someone and you just know that you hurt them, doesn't matter what happened, you hurt them. I could say, I am so sorry for hurting you because I mean it, because I really do mean it. But you have to actually give a damn. You have to care, you know, you have to care about everybody else's feelings and not only yours.
Yes.
And that's why it's so powerful.
And let's talk about the power of forgiveness, because sometimes the first person you need to forgive is yourself. People will make a mistake and then they beat themselves up for the next 30 years. Talk about why it's so important to fall back in love with yourself.
Absolutely. I think that people underestimate the power of self-forgiveness, which comes from self-love. And, I have stories for you, but the most impactful story is when I saw my father for the last and first time after years. And I wanted to talk to him, and he would not allow me to talk to him. So I never had the opportunity to verbalize the hurt. I never got the opportunities to say nothing. He didn't let me. He said, I have nothing to talk to you.
Oh.
God already forgave me. So whatever happened, it happened. And I don't want to talk about it. Those were his last words.
Wow.
And not too long after that, a few years later, he got into a very, very unfortunate accident where his building burned, and he burned about 80% of his body. I never saw him again after that time. And I had to forgive him for me, not for anyone else, so that I could be at peace with that. And I did. I completely did. Wow. So now he visits me in my dreams. I see him, and I'm able to talk to him and with him and about him with love. Wow. Like there's not an ounce of nothing but amazing love that embodies me every single time I talk about him, because he was amazing. He just didn't know it.
Wow. I can see why you're so successful. Val, we have about 2 minutes left. Look into the camera on the left and talk to the woman who's struggling right now.
For the woman that's struggling right now, I want you to know that I was you. I was you for 43 years. And I had to take a hard look at myself and ask, what can I change right now that can make the rest of my life livable? Ask yourself that question and start doing one little tiny thing at a time. Not everything, but one thing, one decision. Maybe it's with your children. You want to just be a better mom? Say you're sorry. You know, it doesn't matter what happened. Just start with an apology. Apologize to yourself for not having the grace and compassion. Everything else will follow.
Wow, such a powerful segment. We're going to leave you with her LinkedIn page, the great Val Vidal. Thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your heart and your wisdom with us.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.